Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar. Run for the weather warnings as we've got some more rain warnings, so we are going to continue to see some pretty unsettled weather over the coming days. It's going to remain fairly mild as well, as we see on the latest UKV, but as we head into the longer range, as we look at the GFS, GM, East and OF and the ensembles, it is looking likely to go cooler towards the end of February. It doesn't look like it will be anything majorly cold, but there is the risk of snow as we are getting towards the point in the year where the sea surface temperatures are at their coldest, and we still have plenty of very cold air aloft, so there could be some surprises towards the end of February, but not expecting anything too major, just something a bit colder with some polar maritime air mass. Air mass is moving in, maybe even some Arctic air at times. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now if you start on the live radar, you can see more bands of rain are moving through today. Pretty unsettled out there, but away from that rain, a little bit brighter. The big thing about this rainy, unsettled period is that it is very mild. Temperatures well into the double digits, and that is going to continue over the coming days. If you do put in the temperatures as of this afternoon around 4 p.m, you can see generally in the south it's milder, of course, closer to that southwesterly wind. Further northwards, a little bit colder. Now, if you put on the weather warnings, you can see we've got some more rain warnings issued further southwards. We've got this rain warning issued for parts of the Midlands from 2 p.m. tomorrow until 3 a.m. for Friday for more very heavy rain over already very saturated ground. You can see 10 to 20 millimetres falling quite widely, which in itself isn't amazingly huge amounts, but for that region with very wet ground already, it is going to potentially cause some issues. And then another warning across southwest England and South Wales from 11 a.m. tomorrow until midnight tomorrow as well. Again, a period of very heavy rain. And again, we could see 15 to 20 millimetres widely, 30 to 40 millimetres over higher ground. Now, if you go over to the latest UKV, you can see at the moment we are seeing that rain eventually clear away through the rest of this evening. Still, we could see some more rain overnight tonight into tomorrow, more bands moving in, especially further westwards and northwards. But as I said, very mild where we do avoid that rain. It is going to continue to tomorrow, and then we see the risk of further heavy rain across much of England and Wales, and that's why we have those warnings starting to come into force. You can see some really quite bright colours in there indicating exceptionally heavy rain in places, and that is going to continue through Friday before eventually clearing, and Friday's going to be a day of sunshine and showers, so actually a little bit of a better day there. And then as we head into the weekend, continuing to stay fairly unsettled, another big wall of rain there overnight Saturday into Sunday, and again a little bit brighter on Sunday. So it's going to be oscillating up and down, but generally it isn't going to be anything particularly great. The only thing, as I said, is it's going to be fairly mild. Can see through this afternoon temperatures up to around 14-15 degrees, exceptionally mild. Further northwards, a little bit cold, but that is going to change as that rain moves through overnight tonight. Into tomorrow, all areas are very mild once again, 14, 15, 16 degrees. Again, really, really mild. And it's complete opposite to what we thought a week or two ago. We thought this period could be pretty cold, but it just seems like, again, it has flopped quite badly. As we head through Friday in towards the weekend, it is going to remain very mild, a little bit more up and down, as we do see some slightly fresher air coming in behind the weather fronts, but fresher is still going to be average to maybe still slightly above. And this is going to continue for the foreseeable future, but as we'll see now, it is going to turn a little bit colder towards the end of the month. So you do see we've got southwesterly wind continuing at the moment, and it's going to continue over the coming days and potentially even the next week or so. However, you start to see that jet stream push slightly further southwards into next week, and this is that start of potentially a little bit colder with polar maritime air moving in from the northwest. It's not best to show the upper air temperatures too well on these charts, as it is going to be very much dependent on the track of these lows. It's better to have a look at the ensembles, as we'll see in a minute. Beyond that, continues to stay fairly chilly, quite a lot colder than it is now, and there is again the risk of snow. We see that -5 ice firm come in, but nothing amazingly cold because it is coming from southern Greenland and northeast Canada along a fairly long sea track, so it is always going to be struggling for anything particularly cold towards lower lying areas, but still a little bit chillier, more wintry than it is now. If compared to the GM has been very pessimistic over the past couple of weeks. I haven't noted that. I've noticed it's been very much the more pessimistic model, but it's probably been correct considering the GFS and ECMWF have both shown fairly cold patterns at times, but never quite coming off. You can see though that it is fairly on board with that polar maritime theme, with the jet stream heading in towards the Mediterranean, so very southerly checking jet stream, but no major blocking that's forcing the very cold air out. But you see chilly polar maritime air moving in, and you can see with the upper air temperatures, temperature deviation here, it is below average. Similar can be said of the ECMWF. It is continuing to be very similar over the coming days, very mild, and then turning chillier into the longer term, but maybe not quite as chilly as the other runs, with that jet stream slightly further northwards, and you can see there a much bigger wedge of milder air. But it is broadly similar, as we see from the ECMWF ensembles, that it is going to be turning chillier into the longer range. Now, after you finish the video, it's a shorter one today simply because of timings, but you can see it's going to be fairly mild over the next week, potentially exceptionally mild with the upper air temperatures over the next couple of days, before turning quite a bit cool in the longer term. Generally, though, nothing amazingly cold, a degree or two below average, maybe 3 degrees at times, so slightly chillier. And you can see a few runs get down to -10, but it's not anything special. Quite unsettled as well, definitely noted that, which is going to mean that it is going to be cold, wet, and potentially pretty miserable. As I said, it is polar maritime air, so snow will be mainly over higher ground, maybe low-lying areas at times, but it is going to be one to watch. You can see with the 2 meter temperatures, mild over the coming days, low to mid-teens potentially, longer term more towards that 6-7 degree mark, so chilly, but not amazingly cold. And one of the big things you see with polar maritime air is the dew point does struggle. You can see mostly here it's around 0 or slightly above, and this is for London, remember, so higher ground further northwards will be colder, but the dew points do struggle to get below freezing with the polar maritime air because it does pick up a lot of moisture and warmth at the surface as it does travel over a long North Atlantic sea track. Now finally, if we do have a look at the latest ECMWF ensembles, similar over the next week, and then it does go chilly in the longer range, not quite as optimistic as the GFS runs, but it does again show that average to below average air masses, maybe slightly colder than that, into towards the last couple of days of February. But unfortunately, it does look like a lot of those longer range runs we've been looking at quite a lot over the past couple of weeks have been a bit of a flop. Not seeing anything majorly cold, not seeing that major blocking that a lot of the long range anomaly charts were showing. We did a video a couple of days ago on that, and yeah, not really coming to fruition. So yeah, going to be very interesting to watch over the coming weeks, just to see how much of a failure this is going to be, and it's going to have to be one we take into next winter when we are doing our winter look aheads and of course our longer range videos. So yeah, this winter has been a bit of a disappointment. A lot of the long range charts have shown something pretty cold and wintry, and it's never fully come to fruition. We've seen colder spells, but nothing too major. But we've got another couple of weeks of winter left, and of course March and April could have something quite cold in it, as we are going to see a sudden stratospheric warming, and I'll probably have another video out on that out on that in the next couple of days. But anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.